Hey guys, this is CDTVProductions and welcome to a new episode of Best Verses on Lil Rhubarb here. Now, Lil Tomato Dreads is a rapper I have mixed feelings on because I loved the first Lil Boat tape, but I felt much less warm towards the second one. However, he still does have some verses that are actually pretty good. So with that being said guys, this is CDTVProductions. I just made a Facebook page. I would appreciate if you guys could go and like that if you enjoy my videos, and let's get right into the video. I don't even know if anyone still uses Facebook anymore, man.
Hold on, money so old, check is calling. Not so fat, been fucking like who was you falling with? So new, got these coppers thick and it's stolen. So they pull me over and say my teeth golden, it's over. Bro, keep the chop on his shoulder, just pay cash for it.
Now, most of the time, I hate when Yachty tries to make a hard-ass rapping track, but he does a good enough job here that I like it. It has a decent story behind it too. This verse came after Yachty did a kind of funny but also awkward freestyle on Hot 97, which led to the hosts there having a conversation with him about how his bars aren't the best. Yachty admitted in that interview he doesn't take rapping seriously, even though he seems to want to prove the opposite here, but nonetheless, he put out this track. Yeah, the bars aren't amazing here, but they're alright, and there's less cringeworthy lines than usual. Nothing on the level of she blow that dick like a cello. Not to mention, his flow is solid here. It's usually awkward and stilted when he tries to rap. Perfect example of that is Oops from Lil Boat too, so I appreciate that it was smoother here. Also, whilst we're talking about it, I've seen Tech 9 take shots at Hot 97 recently as well, so I wonder if this is going to become more of a thing. Maybe people just don't like those hosts.
I'm not gonna act like I don't love you, baby, cause deep in my mind, girl, I know I do. Tried to search all through the world in that well, but I can't find a girl who looks close like you. I didn't mean millions of dollars, but
interestingly, these are the types of songs I like Yachty on, for the most part. Recently, he's been doing pretty well on these more poppy, mainstream songs, and he brings a ridiculously catchy verse for this collab with Calvin Harris and Kehlani. His flow just runs perfectly on the bounce of the instrumental, and I was surprised by how on point the flow was here. Hell, I think Kehlani is a fantastic singer and does really well on here, and I still mainly listen to this track for Boat. It's got a little bit of emotion behind it, and Yachty shows his goofy charm on this track, which is what he does best. Really enjoyed this verse a lot. One of my favorites on here.
when I post up in Atlanta, I feel like Monta Ellis. I got more hoes than Elvis. Damn, who the fuck said the Lil Boat wasn't ballin'? I'm ballin' like Spalding, you know this shit.
So before I get all the comments about it, yes, I did accidentally title that incorrectly in the slide just there. It's spelled, this song is spelled M-O-N-T-E, not M-O-N-T-A. I assumed it was because it's named after, or I assumed it was named after Monta Ellis, the basketball player who Yachty references a couple times in his verses, but on Post Malone's mixtape, he titled this as M-O-N-T-E. So just wanted to clear that up before I get all the comments. And if you did comment it, you're a big dum-dum now, okay? Now this is such a feel-good verse, and I absolutely love it. Yachty comes with some incredibly dope melodies here, possibly some of the nicest melodies I've ever heard Yachty sing. Yes, they big as a toe and shit is maybe the laziest comparison ever made, but it doesn't even irritate me on this track, cause Yachty provides such a happy verse here. Very cool collab between him and Post Malone.
Oh, damn, no girl come before my mama. No, I'ma take mama out to the Bahamas. I'll take her where she can live great. Yo, she gon' eat steak off a plate. She gon' take pics for her Instagram and let the world know her son great.
Alright, call me a big soft boy, big softy CDTV, but I think this verse is pretty cute. As the title implies, Yachty dedicates this song to his mother, and it makes for one of the best tracks on Teenage Emotions. I know that's not exactly an achievement, it's like being the smartest brain cell in Lil Pump's head, there's not much competition, but I think this would still make for a good track, even on one of Yachty's stronger projects. Yachty tells us about repaying his mother for all the love she gave him by buying her a new house, a new car, and new jewelry. It's nice to hear how much of his success he wants to share with her, and it sounds like they have a really great relationship. I never thought I'd say this, but we got a genuinely heartwarming track from Yachty with this one.
Real motherfucker, I'm too quick to duck out, pocket and sucker, but now I won't come out first in the race. I get bored too quick, that's why I can't stay in place. I'm holding like man. I know more stocks space, not a smile on your face, but this faster than Simon, I don't, you know Simon.
Now, like I said, whenever Yachty is rapping, it doesn't exactly harbour the best results, as shown again by his Lil Boat 2 album. However, this is one of the rare examples where his execution is actually pretty solid. I chose the second verse over the first one because I feel the first one was still a little bit awkward flow-wise. There were certain points where it just sounded weird, but the second one is actually quite nice. There's not even really any cringy lyrics on the second verse, and there's some amusing little lines. It's probably the hardest verse Yachty has rapped, and I like the urgent feeling that the song has with Yachty's frantic delivery. People will usually point to this as an example of Yachty rapping well, and I can't argue with that.
Hit the scene. Now I'm starting like bling. Time and time again, they told me no, they told me I wouldn't go, cause in high school all I cared about was hoes.
I mean, Chance the Rapper, who this song is by, said that this is his favourite verse from Chance's own project, Colouring Book. That's some pretty high praise, and I could see why he would say it. It's definitely one of Yachty's best verses, hence it being on here. The beat is suited really well for Yachty's voice, he flows so smoothly, and I thought the line, "Now I spend more than they make at my dentist," was a fairly creative way for Yachty to brag about his success. Although, I would have to say, I think Logic and even Chance himself also care about cover art, even though you do also have very aesthetically pleasing cover art yourself, Yachty. Overall, it's one of his strongest verses, and his singing actually strikes me as passionate at some points during this. Very, very nice verse. Well guys, that is going to be it for the video today. Like I said, I did set up a Facebook page just under the name CDTVProductions, so I would appreciate you guys liking that. It's just another way to keep up with my videos, and of course it's just another social media that I'd like to grow, so really appreciate you checking that out. Let me know who you would like to see next in Best Verses. It can be a rapper I like or dislike as always, and thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you guys all in the next one. This is CDTVProductions, signing out.